Good morning everyone, I'm Fly and today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 games from 2022. So 2022 was a pretty good year for board games, but before going in, just let me just give you a quick disclaimer because I haven't played every game that was released in 2022. No one has, that's impossible. There are a few games that I would have liked to play that might have made my list, but since I haven't, some games like Foundations of Rome, Lacrimosa, and Woodcraft, just to name a few. So bear in mind there are games that I would have liked to play it, but I haven't got a chance to. So let's get on with it. My number 10 is Tilletum. Tilletum is a dice drafting midweight Euro game set in the age of Renaissance, I think. In this game, you're traveling all around Europe, and you have an architect and a merchant with you. So in this game, several fairs happen throughout the game, and you want your merchant to be present in all of them, so you can score points. And you also have an architect. The architect allows you to contribute to some of the most iconic monuments from that age. It's kind of a point salady game. It has a pretty cool dice system though, where every turn you're selecting one of the dice, and one side shows you how many resources you get, and the opposite side is how many of that action you can do. Yeah, it's a pretty neat system. Overall, it's a good game. I enjoyed it. My number 9 is Planet Unknown. Planet Unknown is it's a tile laying sort of Euro-y game where every player is developing a planet, and on your turn you're spinning a supply station. It's what they call them, supply station, where it has several polyomino tiles, and you're spinning it and you're picking up a tile, and whatever ends in front of your opponents, that's what they have to work with in that turn. Yeah, it's a really cool system because it allows for simultaneous play and it doesn't add downtime. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I really enjoyed this game. My number 8 is one of the most acclaimed games from 2022. It is Endless Winter Paleo Americans. This is deck builder slash worker placement Euro game set in a time way before humans had board games, pretty sure of it. In this game, each player takes control of a tribe going through 4 generations, and yeah, you'll be doing a lot of everything. So you'll be exploring and settling on new lands, you'll be hunting animals, you'll be developing your culture. So on your turn, you put one of your workers on one of the 4 available spots on the board. You can boost your actions with cards, which is really neat. And we can also rest, which is really good in this game. For each spot, there's a sequence of actions you can do, and the first player who picks that action gets a bonus. The components and artwork are by the Miko, which is amazing. It just drops a little bit for me because I found the deck building element to be a little shallow. I like my deck builders to cycle the cards over and over several times over the game, and at most I think I get to see a card I pick like 2 maybe 3 times during the whole game. I think that was meh, but overall it's a pretty good game. I enjoyed it. My number 7 is Orichalcum. Orichalcum is 4X, so they call it a small, kind of really small 4X game set in ancient Greek times, I think. Um, in this game, you are exploring and defeating monsters, constructing buildings. So on your turn, you pick a tile from the display, and with it comes an action card. And you get the tile, you place the tile on your map, and after that you get to do the action on the card. And you get to explore, which gives you more workers, which you can use workers to get extra actions. It's a really neat game. I really like it. I mean, it's really simple. It's a very simple game. Once you get to 5 points, you win. That's it. I really, really enjoyed this game. Really, really great. My number 6 is Revive. Revive is a deck builder slash action selection Euro game. This game is set in a post-apocalyptic scenario where the Earth is now frozen and the remainder of population has been divided into several tribes, and each player controls one of these tribes. And basically you're exploring and populating new spots on the board and building factories. It's an asymmetric game with a really cool card mechanism. On your turn, you're playing a card, and you can either place it, and you can either slot it on the bottom of your board or on the top. If you slot it on the bottom, you get an ability. If you slot it on the top, you get resources. You can also install modules on these slots, which make the actions really, really powerful. Component-wise, the game is really good. My only issue is with the artwork, the cards. I mean, the art is very samey, which is kind of bland, I guess. Overall, a great game. My number 5 is Star Wars: The Clone Wars. This is a pandemic-y style game. This is a cooperative game. In this game, you're trying to complete several missions depending on the difficulty you choose, and then defeat the villain. On your turn, you're doing 4 actions. Then you flip the villain card. Then you invade a few planets, and then you discard down to 7 cards, and that's it. In this game, you have to complete a few missions depending on the difficulty you're playing at, and at the same time dealing with the droids that are invading the planets. And after you deal with the 4 missions, 4 or whatever, you need to defeat the villain. Each villain has its own mechanics you need to overcome. It's different enough from a Pandemic game. I mean, I really like Pandemic. I like Star Wars. And I really like this game. It's really good. My number 4 is Flamecraft. Flamecraft is a worker movement sort of lightweight Euro game where you all live in a town where you are friends with dragons, and they are working alongside you. In this game, you're collecting resources and trading the resources for points. It's a really simple game. On your turn, you move your dragon worker to a new shop. There are several shops across the board, and you do one of 2 things. You either gather resources from that shop, or you enchant, which is basically trading resources for points. This game is beautiful, beautiful. The components from the deluxe version are just amazing. Overall, really neat, great game, great little game, and that's why it's my number 4. My number 3 is the first game in the new trilogy. It is Wayfarers of the South Tigris. This is a dice / worker placement type of game. It's a midweight Euro. So in this game you'll be exploring on land and by sea, and you'll be looking at the stars, and by the end of the game you'll have an enormous panorama of cards in front of you, and throughout the game you'll have to record your discoveries on your journal. It's a point salad game. You'll be collecting tags, and it's also a set collection game. On your turn, you're either placing a die or you place a worker on the board, which by then it becomes a public resource for everyone, or you're resting. It's really simple. However, the choices are overwhelming. There are so many choices. However, as the game goes on, it becomes clearer and clearer what you need to get, what you need to do in order to advance and to score points. I mean, I really love everything these designers do. Sean Phillips and Sam McDonald are really good at what they do, and that's why it's my number 3. My number 2 is Weather Machine. Weather Machine is it's a heavy Euro worker movement / action selection game where the players are scientists on Latif's team. Latif is the character scientist who invented the weather machine, which he only uses it for good purposes. So you need a sunny day on a local sports event, you got it. You need winds or rain for your farm, no problem. However, this causes extreme weather somewhere else on the planet. And as scientists on Latif's team, you have to fix the mess he's doing. Players will be working with the local government, they will be helping them, and the government will be helping back. They will be running experiments on their own in the old weather machine, collecting pieces of information here and there, so ultimately they can build a prototype to fix the extreme weather conditions. The artwork and components are great. I mean, it's Ian O'Toole. Being a Lacerda game, I was expecting it to be a little more thematic, but anyway, it's still a great game. That's why it's my number 2. And finally, my number 1 is a game I had really high expectations for, and Days of Wonder delivered. Heat, Pedal to the Metal, is my number 1. Heat is a racing game. It's a lightweight hand management racing game. In this game, you're a driver in a Formula 1 car from the 60s. Although it's a light game, it might be hard for new players to grasp the flow of the game. But once it clicks, once you get it, it's really fun. I mean, I've played a lot of racing games, and this one is currently my favorite racing game. It actually feels like a race. There's a few modules that come with this game, like the garage module that lets you draft car parts. So everyone starts the race with a different set of cards. There's also weather conditions that affect each section of the track. There's the championship mode, which puts you through a series of historic races. There's enough content in this box that provides variability and replayability that will keep you busy for a while. Components are great, art is by Vincent Dutrait, which is great. And I really love racing games, and that's why this is my number 1. And that is that. I hope you enjoyed it. What are your favorite games from 2022? Let me know in the comments down below. Until next time.